In 1 year, my entire life has changed. I mean, I'm a completely different man. My thoughts have changed. My desires have changed. My mind has changed. The way I talk and the things I do, everything has changed since I met Jesus. And if you're watching this video wondering, can a life truly change by Jesus, by the power of God? This video is for you. 1 year ago, I was stuck in patterns I just simply couldn't break. I had lashing out in anger. I had sexual thoughts, sexual desires, pornography, certain things that just I could not break. Spirit of orphanage, a spirit of abandonment, spirit of fear. Always walking into rooms feeling like I was out of place and that I just could not relate to other people. And honestly, I thought this is just how it is. This is how life is always going to be. But 1 year ago, Jesus didn't just change my behavior. He changed what I love. He changed what I hate. He changed what I live for and the entire direction of my life. So I want to tell you exactly what my life looked like before him and what happened when I encountered him and what has changed since. But before I tell you what has changed, I need to be honest with you because I grew up around Christianity. I believed in God. I knew Bible verses. I even got a tattoo on my arm at 18 years old of a Bible scripture, but I was still completely lost. So if you think knowing about Jesus is the same as truly knowing him, knowing about him and knowing who he is two different things. And that's where everything started to change. See, before he came into my life and truly just turned everything upside down, I was like most people. I grew up poor. I came from a decent family. They tried to do their best, but my parents, they ended up in drug addiction. They came from broken homes. Their childhoods were very traumatic, and I love them today, but they came from households that were just insane. And no wonder people turn to drugs and alcohol and all these things, and out of this childhood trauma, these things that happen to them, and they try to cope. And so I grew up around this, but they were trying to do their best. They took us to church. We knew the scriptures. We went to vacation Bible schools. We went to Wednesday nights. And I thought this is what church was, going to church. This is what following Jesus was about. You go on Sunday, you go on Wednesday, you put on a show about this is everything's fine. Everything's good. And then as soon as you leave, you go back to regular life. Sundays, they're just a pretend. And that's what religion was to me. That's what following Jesus was. That's what I grew up around. And so whenever I got older, I said, you know what? I'm going to wait to get my life right. I'm going to wait to go after God. I'm going to wait to learn about Jesus. But I thought that I was good. I thought that I was okay. I was going to focus on getting rich, getting wealthy, getting my family right, because I did not want to deal with the issues that I grew up around in my own household growing up as a child. I said, I'm going to run from this. I'm not going to put up with this. I'm going to have something different for my kids, for my wife, for my future. And I got out of high school, I got into real estate, started pursuing sales. That was the easiest way to make money, to earn a living and provide for my family. At this point, I have a child at 16. I had went into foster care because my parents, they just were so broken in a place where they couldn't get out of, and it ended up falling into place that way. I'm thankful for it. I learned a lot from it, that experience. But afterwards, at 18 years old, I was off on my own and I had to get a job. I had to learn how to provide. And I had a child as well at this time, and also a woman to take care of as well. Thankfully, she put up with me long enough. She keeps me in line, and I'm married to her today. And we have two beautiful children, Trent and Raina. He's 10, he's taller than me. And my beautiful daughter, she's 6 years old. The sweetest thing ever. But I was in a place where I had nowhere to turn. I didn't have an education. And I said, I'm going to get wealthy. That's how I'm going to deal with my problems. That's how I'm going to deal with my pain. That's how I'm going to deal with my trauma. And this was, to give you a perspective, part of my testimony is my earliest memory is a SWAT team kicking in our door because my parents were selling drugs to try and make a living. And I remember wearing a diaper and peeing on myself, looking at my mom saying, why is this happening? Why is this happening to us? And I remember her just holding me while I peed on myself and her just comforting me. And to me, it was almost like she was looking at me as if this was normal. This is just life. And so I grew up in that environment. I grew up thinking, okay, chaos is normal. And whenever I began to make money and learn how to do real estate and learn how to do business deals, we started earning. I ended up getting out of a hole. I ended up providing for my family. But it was so new that I fell into the trap of, well, I'll buy this. I'll get the house. I'll get the car. I'll get the white picket fence. I'll go on the vacations. I'll buy all the toys. I'll buy all the stuff. And we got to a point where you're making well over six figures at a super young age, at 23 years old. There's nothing else to buy. We got the house, we got the car, but you get there and you're still not satisfied. And I remember getting to that place and just looking out and not being content in myself, not feeling like it was what everything that had been promised to me. I grew up in a place where if you got money, if you became wealthy, then you got it figured out. That's all there is to life. Once you make that happen, you're considered successful. You've made it. You can relax. You can go to the beach. But guys, you go to the beach and you drink a couple margaritas and there's nothing else to it. There's nothing else. I don't know about you, but I can't do that 24/7. At some point, I want to go back home. After about 2 or 3 days, I wanted to go back home. I gotta get out of here. And so it was super unfulfilling. There was nothing there for me. And I remember breaking down. It was like the Lord was drawing me. And I remember breaking down and just turning everything to him after a period of about 6 months prior, him just stripping away everything that was of this world from me. Thankfully, he didn't take my family away, but finances, material things, it was all gone. And I was so stubborn. I said, okay, this avenue isn't working out. I'm going to jump to this one. And even though that I was doing really well, making sales, doing deals, it still was as if I was making a job at McDonald's money. It was barely enough to pay the bills. I would have been better off just going and getting a job anywhere. And so I got to that place and I felt like the Lord was showing me, hey, you can't do anything apart from me. You can't do anything. How hard-headed are you going to be? It's like the Lord's hand was removed off my life for the very first time. Whereas prior to this, I had always felt like the Lord was looking out for me, like he was just establishing my path, making my path straight, protecting me from certain things in my life. And at this point, I felt like his presence had been removed. And I remember crying out to God. And thankfully, from my childhood, my parents keeping us in church, I knew what to do. I just didn't want to do it because I was telling myself, well, once I get wealthy, once I get my life how I want it, then I'll go and pursue God. Then I'll get right with the Lord. I wanted to do my thing first. I wanted to do what I wanted to do first and then come to him. Well, at this time, I cried out, got on my knees and just said, Lord, I can't do anything without you. Like, I need you in my life. I don't know what we're going to do. I cried out. It wasn't a normal prayer. It was like, your kids, those of you that have children, whenever they scream bloody murder and they're out, something just happened and you got to get there right now. It was one of those crying out versus every other prayer that I'd prayed was, Lord, just please help me, get me through this. It didn't really mean anything, didn't carry any weight. And this time I fully surrendered everything to God. And I told him, I said, Lord, I need you in my life. I need you to come and touch me, pick me up out of this miry clay. I don't have anywhere else to turn. And I'm thankful that he put me in that place to where I could understand I can do nothing apart from him. And from that moment, I began to finally open up the scriptures, finally open up the word for the very first time. Thankfully, the show The Chosen had just came out. I was able to watch that for the very first time, and it helped me understand, okay, Matthew and Mark and Luke and John, these were people that were following Jesus around. These were people that went and they met with Mary, Jesus's mother, and understood, okay, these are her thoughts. This is what Jesus, who walked with them. These were real people. And it fully made sense to me whenever I read the Bible. Okay, these people were real people following Jesus. This is how it was recorded. And I can understand who Matthew was. I can understand who John was. I can understand who Mark was. And I began to read it for the very first time. And it's like, wow, this is real. The words just popped off the page. And I remember staying up for hours and hours every single night. My wife didn't know what the heck was happening. She says, why are you reading all the time? What's going on? And I remember staying up just night after night, just reading. And all of a sudden, this hunger, this deep groan, this desire for the word of God just swelled up in me. And I began to just be mesmerized. And I couldn't do anything else but consume his word. It was like a fire in my bones. And as I began to read, I began to have different desires. Like I said, I told my wife, I said, you cook very good. She is a very good cook, cooks the best food. And I said, I got to do a fast. I don't know what it is, but there's something in me telling me I need to fast. I need to not eat so that I can grow closer with him, so I can just consume his word and grow more in intimacy in my relationship. And I didn't eat for like 3 days. Listen, we grew up in the South in Georgia. You don't not eat, okay? We big boned. We like cornbread and biscuits. I like my wife's cat head biscuits. I like her mac and cheese. Listen, I can eat. So I ain't never fasted in my life prior to this, and all of a sudden I'm fasting. I don't want to eat. Only thing that I'm focused on is God. And after this period in my life, I went to a prayer meeting. I'd been praying for God after I'd seen the scriptures. They were real. They were alive. And I went to a prayer meeting, and I remember before this crying out to God saying, if the book of Acts is real, if you've really commanded us to do these things, to lay hands on people and the supernatural of the gospel coming to life, if that is real, I want everything. I got to see this in my life. Lord, I don't have anything else, the money, the finances, my earthly things, my material things, it does not compare to your word and your presence. I remember crying out to him for months saying, Lord, if this is real, I want everything that you have for me. And I went to this prayer meeting and they were all praying. And the next thing that I know, it was as if the presence, his sweet love just rested upon me. I can't explain it. Just the love of God rested upon me in that place. And all of a sudden, I just feel this immense power, this immense fire in my bones, just a presence of love, a presence of might, a presence of just, I don't even know how to describe it. And out of my bosom, out of this area right here, it just seemed like fire in my bones welling up inside me, living water coming out. And I began to prophesy in tongues for the very first time. And that wasn't supposed to happen where I came from. I grew up in a fundamentalist Baptist background. People that do that, they're demonic. This isn't real, yada, yada, yada. This isn't for today. But there was something in me that was causing me to just pray out loud. And it was this love, sweet, sweet love. I was crying under the weight of his glory, under the weight of his presence, and shaking and trembling. And in that moment, I felt that I was already there with him. I can't explain it. Those of you that have experienced this, maybe you can put it in the comments, but I felt like I was in his presence in such an intimate way in that time. And it lasted for probably a couple minutes, maybe even 30 seconds. It felt like it was a very long time, but I was praying out loud in tongues, so loud that at this point I'm praying louder than everybody in this area where I'm at. And these people, this is normal to them. I was praying louder than them. And after that, I've never been the same. That moment, that short moment where I felt his presence in that such tangible way, where he encountered me, my life has never been the same. Ever since that moment, I can't listen to the same music. I can't watch the same stuff. I can't listen to anything worldly. I can't listen anything that does not edify my spirit, bringing me closer in the knowledge and the revelation and into his presence and in his just into his glory. If I'm not beholding him, I feel like I'm dying. And that's the truth about it. He has transformed me. He's healed my marriage. He has kept my mother-in-law. She was diagnosed with cancer, kept her alive year after year after year. I mean, he is so powerful, and his word is alive and true. And if you're watching this wondering, is the Bible real? Is Jesus Christ truly God? I can sit here and tell you indefinitely, yes. I don't believe in him because of a book. I believe in him because he encountered me. He stopped me in my tracks, and he came into my life and literally turned my entire world upside down. Fast forward to today, I'm preaching, I'm online ministering to people, and I've seen people encounter that same presence that I encountered time and time again. As if you are desiring more of him, just do it. Just start. Just open up your word. Turn on the chosen. Get you a Bible that you can read and understand, and just go after him. Just do it. All I can tell you is he transformed my life. There is nothing else I would rather have than him. Nothing else. Nothing. There is nothing. You can, money, I don't care. Titles, I don't care. Material things, I don't care. I gave up all that so I could pursue him in all of his fullness and all. I just want to behold him. I love y'all. If you got something out of this, comment below, subscribe. I'll see y'all on the next one.